Hello, my name's Steve and I sell stuff on eBay as a hobby, and in this video I want to show you my payout for the 14th of November 2023. But first of all, let's have a look at what's sold. It's Thursday, the 9th of November, and my first sale of the week, which came in yesterday evening, is this bundle of 3 books by Michael G. Coney. Hasn't got the G there, but I'm sure it's Michael G. Coney. These are 3 book club editions, so it's science fiction book club editions from the 1960s, 1970s, not sure offhand. I bought these together many years ago on the market from a second-hand bookseller there. Had a lot of these, so I've got quite a few science fiction book club editions. Have sold a few. These are the first 3 to sell by Michael Coney, and the titles are Hello Summer, Goodbye, Winter's Children, and Friends Come in Boxes. Now, I've sold these for £12 all in. They have gone for the full asking price. I've got a little bit of trouble with the buyer's address at the moment, so I've sent him a message just to confirm where they need to go. But once I've got that information from him, I'll be able to post these off. It's Friday the 10th of November and I've sold a jigsaw. Now this is the first jigsaw that I've sold in quite some time, a couple of months, maybe 3 or 4 months since I last sold a jigsaw. I am running my jigsaws down at the moment. I'm not buying any new ones. Since a buyer said that I'd sold him a jigsaw with missing pieces, which I know is not the case. I do check all of my jigsaws. I'll show you in a minute what I do. But first of all, as to this particular jigsaw, it's called Road to Dunkirk. It's a painting by a guy called Nicholas Trudgeon. And it shows these aircraft over France. Now, these are Hurricanes, I believe. I did at first think they were Spitfires. When I was 13 or 14 years old, I'm sure I could have told you the difference between a Spitfire and a Hurricane, but I'm no longer so sure. I think that one there is a Junkers. Correct me if I'm wrong. Um, if you know the difference between a Spitfire and a Hurricane, do let me know in the comments below. But it's a nice painting nonetheless, and these kind of jigsaws with transporting an aircraft, uh, railway engines, particularly steam engines, do tend to be popular. I've had this listed for quite some time now. It's gone for the full asking price of £10, and I'm quite happy with that. It is all there as I explained. What I do, or well, my wife will complete the jigsaws. I'm not much of a jigsaw doer myself, but my wife does them. I take a photograph of the completed jigsaw so we know that all of the pieces there are there. And then immediately I put all of the pieces into a bag which I seal. Now these bags are available. These bags are about 50 of them together, maybe as many as 100 for not very much money. I think they're intended for clothing, shirts, and that sort of thing. But they do seal, so all of those pieces are sealed in there. This jigsaw also comes with a poster. Now Gibson's jigsaws do this with these size jigsaws. They have these posters, but they kind of fold them into there. I don't think that's very satisfactory, to be honest. Yeah, it jars with me slightly because that is quite a nice little poster as it goes. But there we are. That is all there. It has gone for £10 all in. And now I need to find a box or some way of wrapping it up before I post it out tomorrow. It's Saturday the 11th of November and I've got 2 sales from this morning which I want to show you. First off, we've got this. It's a little book called The Doll's House. It's by Rumer Godden. This will be from, let me have a look, 1963. So it's a really nice children's books with lovely illustrations. And I had that listed for £14.99. I've had an offer of £12 on it, so I've accepted that offer, and the buyer has paid very quickly, so I should be able to get that off this morning. And then immediately following on from that, I've sold this book, a bundle of books by Ian Banks. So 5 paperbacks all together. Is Ian Banks or Ian M. Banks when he writes science fiction. So what we have here are 2 science fiction novels and 2 so-called mainstream novels. Let's have a look at the titles. This one is considered Phoebus. I believe this was his first published science fiction novel in his Culture series. Certainly worth a read, and that's what got me into Banks's science fiction. And then a much later Culture novel. This is called The Hydrogen Sonata, and that is a great read as well. So a nice thick book in very good condition. This is writing as Ian Banks. This is A Song of Stone. I believe that's a collection of short stories. I've read 1 or 2 of them, but I've got another copy of that on my own, and I'll probably get around to reading it sometime. So that's A Song of Stone. Then we've got The Business. That's a good read as well. I remember reading that on holiday a long time ago now, but that's a good read. And one of his later books, The Steep Approach to Garberdale, and that is one of his mainstream novels, as I say, set in Scotland. Great read. Ian Banks, one of my favourite writers. If you haven't read him, go out and look for him. Worth the effort. So that's 3 items I've got to post this morning, and I better get off and do that. It's Sunday the 12th of November, and yesterday evening this bundle of books by Joe Haldeman sold for £15 all in, and that's the full asking price. There are 4 science fiction titles. The first one here being There Is No Darkness, and that is co-written with his brother Jack C. Haldeman II. This is Infinite Dreams. And here we've got Mindbridge. And finally, we've got perhaps his most well-known novel, which is The Forever War. I can recommend that one. That's a very good read. So that's 4 books by Joe Haldeman for £15 all in. It's Monday the 13th of November, and my latest sale on eBay is another bundle of books. Now, just before I show you those, I should explain that mostly now I sell bundles of books on eBay rather than single books. I can't really, I can't compete with the big booksellers who unfathomably are able to sell books at less than the cost of postage in some cases. But it does cost at least £3 to post off a parcel, so anything under, well, I set a bar of about £8, so that it's worth my while doing it, really. Now, a lot of the books that I sell are bundles of books by one author, and those are what I prefer. But sometimes when I'm sourcing for books, I'm not really able to put together a complete set by an author, so I'll do mixed bundles. And I tend to swap them about a bit as well. So if a mixed bundle isn't selling, I'll take 3 books out of that one, 2 books out of a different bundle, and mix them up a bit. Now, in this case, I got a message from somebody who was interested in buying this book. It's The Beach by Alex Garland. This initially was in another bundle, a bundle of 5 books with Ben Oranovich and people like that. But she only wanted the 1 book in that particular edition, asked me if I'd be willing to sell it singly. I sent a message saying, not really, because costs, etc. And that my minimum price would be £8, and I didn't really think the second-hand paperback copy of The Beach was worth £8. But if there was anything else in my other mixed bundles that she was interested in, I'd be prepared to have a look at that. So she sent me a message and saying that she wanted books from this bundle of 6, but she asked me to take one out and put The Beach in. So I did that. It did involve revising the listing, taking new photographs and what have you. Took a little while. Not for an awful lot of money either. These have sold for £12 all in. My initial listing with the Alex Garland book in it was £12.50. The 6 book pile was £12. So I revised the listing, I put it up for £14 and sent the buyer an offer at 12, which I thought was fair. So £12 for these, I think that's a reasonable deal, really. They are in quite good condition. But let me show you what the titles are. So we've got this one by C.L. Taylor, and that is called Her Last Holiday. Then we've got this, which is by Louise Penny. It's called The Long Way Home. Then a book by Shari LaPena, Not a Happy Family. Shari LaPena seems to be quite popular. And then, of course, we've got Alex Garland's The Beach in quite a nice edition, actually. Then I've got Believe Me by J.P. Delaney. And finally, we've got The Split by Sharon Bolton. So that's a bundle of 6 paperbacks for £12 all in. It's Tuesday the 14th of November and I received my weekly payout this morning, but before I show you that, I'm going to show you my final 3 sales of the week. First of which is this bundle of science fiction paperbacks by various authors, and it's quite an eclectic bunch, really. Wasn't sure if this was going to sell at all. I listed it for £14.50. I got offered £12 for it, and I'm quite happy to accept that. So let's have a look at the titles. Now we've got Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451, which is probably one of the best known science fiction novels of the 20th century. Certainly worth a read, and it is an excellent book. So check that one out if you haven't read it already. Next one is a book by Peter F. Hamilton called Salvation Lost. Now, I must admit I've never read any Peter Hamilton, but I picked this up very cheaply and couldn't find anything else by him, so I put it with this mixed bundle. We've got Ian McDonald's Out on Blue 6, and the same, really. This is the only Ian McDonald book I've got at the moment, anyway. So, again, that's gone with the mixed bunch. Next is Gareth L. Powell's Embers of War. And again, it's another book that I've not read. It's not really on my radar. Most of the science fiction I read is more of the Ray Bradbury vintage, really. But there we are. That's Gareth Powell's Embers of War. Then we've got Michael Marshall Smith's Spares. This one I have read, although it is comparatively recent. He has written a few science fiction novels. He's also wrote thrillers under the name of Michael Marshall. But I can't remember much about this, but it's very similar to a film called The Island, with Ewan McGregor, I think, which is an appallingly bad film. This is rather better book. Then we've got Michael Swanwick's Vacuum Flowers. And finally, Walter Tevis's Mockingbird. Walter Tevis wrote The Man Who Fell to Earth, which was filmed with David Bowie. And he also wrote The Queen's Gambit, which was on Netflix recently. And if you haven't seen The Queen's Gambit, and if you haven't read the book, I can heartily recommend both. Really sort of put-downable book and unmissable drama. Mockingbird's okay. Didn't write many books, Walter Tevis. I think he published 4 books in his brief lifetime. But anyway, that is 7 science fiction paperbacks by various authors, which I've sold for £12. And then I've got this bundle of books by Patricia Highsmith. Now, these I had listed for 12. I took an offer of £10 on these, so £10 all in for the 4 paperbacks. Strangers on a Train, very famous book that was made into a film, a black and white movie back in the 1950s with Farley Granger, I think. Excellent film, excellent book. Again, I recommend that. Then we've got this, which is Slowly, Slowly in the Wind. I've never heard of that, but it's by Patricia Highsmith. So there we go. And The Tremor of Forgery. And again, another famous book by Patricia Highsmith, which is The Talented Mr. Ripley. That was filmed with, was it Matt Damon? but excellent film. And again, this is an excellent book. There were a series of Ripley books, which I've only read this one actually, but they're worth seeking out. So that's four books by Patricia Highsmith, sold for £10. Now those two lots have actually been bought by the same buyer, but I'll be posting them out separately for cost reasons. It's cheaper to do that because of the weight of the 7 books. Marginally cheaper, but it is cheaper, and it'll be clearer for me to send them out that way. Now my final lot sold this week is another bundle of books. It's a bundle of books by Jonathan Gash. I'm not going to show you them all. I'm just going to show you a representative sample because there's 19 of them altogether, and I'm sure you're already bored by this stage anyway. So I don't want to sort of labour the point really. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some titles that are representative of the editions of these books. Now, if you don't know who Jonathan Gash is, he is the creator of Lovejoy, which was initially books but made into a television series with Ian McShane in the 1980s and 90s. It was very popular at the time. I used to watch it on a Sunday evening, quite relaxing. And they're sorts of crime, comedy, dramas. The books, I think, are a little bit more hard-edged. But let's have a look at the titles. So the first two I'm going to show you with these is The Grail Tree and Spend Game. Those are in the Hamlin Whodunit series with that interesting graphic on the cover there with the magnifying glass. Then there's this. This was an edition from Arrow Books. This one is Firefly Gadroon, but there's a series of these with that distinctive typeface there and a painting. And then a lot of the books do actually have pictures of Ian McShane on the cover, so most of them do. That's the editions that I was picking up secondhand 20 or 30 years ago. This one is the Judas Pair. That was, I believe, the first Lovejoy book. And another example of these, the Sleeper of Erin. And then the later editions dropped Ian McShane in favour of a more modern sort of look, and this one is called A Rag, a Bone and a Hank of Hair, which was one of the later Lovejoy novels. And then two of the 19 books are actually not Lovejoy novels at all. He has a character called, if I remember, yes, Dr. Claire Burton Hall, who I believe is a pathologist. Jonathan Gash himself has a medical background, I believe, in tropical medicine. But Lovejoy is the antiques dealer, as you may know, which is kind of private passion, his hobby, if you like. But this is a more sort of professional twist in that he's writing in the medical genre that he's familiar with. And we've got prey dancing there and different women dancing. So that's two Claire Burton Hall books. Now, I had those listed for £32.50 all in. They have gone for the full asking price, so I'm quite happy with that. Well, let's have a look at the payout now. £114.30 was sent to my bank account on the 14th of November. eBay took their fees, reduced fees in some cases. I won't run through all of these, but for example, reduced fees on the Joe Haldeman books, on the Ian Banks books, and on the Jigsaw. After postage, I am left with £83.89. Everything's gone by Royal Mail. They've all gone as small parcels with the exception of the Jonathan Gash books. That went as a medium-sized parcel, and I paid a little bit on top of that for track 48 as well. So that cost me £6.49. Everything else went for £2.99. So that's 9 items sold, £83.89 after postage costs and eBay fees. Not a bad week then, 9 items sold, and as a hobby seller I'm very happy with that. £83 certainly helps. I hope you found that interesting. If you did, please like the video, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment below, and I hope to see you next week. I have sold another jigsaw, so tune in next week and you'll find out what that is. Bye for now.